is the best system of government if it's done properly. If it's not done properly, you find out democracy becomes your number one enemy. Because if we assemble everybody and say, let's make a decision, everybody have a viewpoint. If you look at those societies that got a leap of faith, it's because they have an exceptional leader. They've said, look, we've had it. This is the way. I've seen the vision. Follow me.
That's true.
I mean, look at Singapore. You know, look at Malaysia. Look at UAE. When let me tell you a story. When I left this country 41 years ago, almost 42 years ago, my first stop was in Frankfurt, Germany. When I got there, I'm like, these people are just joking. I went because my uncle, who happens to be my mentor, he's a medical doctor. He trained in Poland. So he said, let's go to Poland. I want you to, his whole idea, I want you to become a diplomat, go and study political science, specialize in foreign policy, then, come back home and, help your people to represent them, on a global scale. When I got to Poland, I swear to God, in 1980, to buy a bread, you have to be in line. To buy oil, you have to be in line. You have to, long line, not just one or two people. When I went back to Poland, 20 years later, I could not believe my eyes. I said, this is not the same country. If you go back to Poland now, and they don't even have the resource, they don't have nothing. But guess what they have? They have the skills. One of the most important resources that we have is our human resources. And we are not capitalizing on it in Nigeria. Because, think about it, oil is eventually, the world is moving away from those type of energy. They are moving away. And Nigeria, they're not seeing it now. Very soon, we won't have people to sell oil to. Because if every vehicle is electric, what do you need? If every house is powered by solar, what do you need diesel for? So we have to plan for that time that is coming and take advantage of what we have now.
Also having a whole change.
Absolutely.
Of the narrative politically in Nigeria.
Absolutely.
Let's have someone who come in with not just fresh ideas, but someone who believes that money shouldn't be the main indicator as to who wins our elections.
Absolutely.
All right. But let me ask you sincerely, profoundly,
yes.
Do you think this is realistic? Do you think that given the degree of rot that we now have to contend with
absolutely.
in the system, do you think, there is a place for people like you who see things differently, who truly desire the sort of change Nigerians would love to see?
Okay. I'm going to answer that question philosophically. Okay? If you have a set of people and you push them to the wall and they don't have nowhere else to go, then they will have to revolt.
Yes.
Hopefully we don't have to get to that level. On a practical level, you need resources to run election, to be able to win. It's a very important element. What I'm saying is it should not be the most important. Because, we have to look at it this way. We need to analyze the personality, the qualification of people that we are putting in position of power. Because if we don't do that, we are going to end up putting people that do not deserve to be there. So you can have a fusion of both a role that money will play to get you elected. Because let's be honest with ourselves. most of these people are wretched. They need money. So any little thing you give them becomes, for some of them, it might be temporary because they don't have the long vision. They are very short-sighted. I'm hungry now. Hey, somebody who's giving me a bag of rice, or not even maybe even a cup of rice, for my son or my daughter to eat, is a temporary solution to their problem. But if we want to solve that problem permanently, we have to remove that enticement that we are giving them to be able to end their goals. I am of the belief that if we can take away that, we may be able to attract people with substance. Because now we are not attracting people with substance. Because if you approach anybody who is within their mental capability, they say, look, you have to be crazy to even get into that model. It's like you want to fight a pig, you are going to get dirty. So unless you are prepared to do that, you are not going to achieve anything. But I, as a person, I believe very strongly that I am fortunate enough to have gone out and look at the way things are done properly. And what can we emulate? To be able to create the great society that we all want, it's very easy for us because it has been done many, many times in other places. So what's stopping us from doing it? So we have to find out what are those impediments that's holding us up. Remove it. Get a visionary leader that can get us to this. Right now we don't have it. I mean, look at the caliber of people that wants to become president. What are they offering? Same thing. I want to be president because it's been my lifetime dream. This has been my lifetime ambition. What do you have to offer? Forget about now it's all about me. What about us? So we have to look at the collective of our total. And now we are still discussing, should the president come from the north, come from the south, central? So what? It doesn't even matter. That's not the most important thing. Say for instance, God forbid, any of us we get into an accident. God forbid, we get into an accident. And we have to go for a brain surgery. When you get to the hospital, are you going to be asking, is there an Hausa man who is going to do a surgery for me, or is he an Igbo man, or is he an Ibibio man? Or you are going to say, who is the most qualified surgeon that you have that can cure the healed? Until we start asking that question, we are not going to move forward on these sports. I mean, the Eagles, they just beat Egypt. The best striker in the world, they have it on their team. But because we don't have any star player, everybody is equal. So you have to, it's what you bring to the table that's going to be the most important. Let's look at results. Don't look at personality, don't look at ethnicity, don't look at religion. Let's look at what is the qualification, what is their platform, what is their manifesto, what is the road plan.
You honestly don't think we have one or two people who
we do
could bring something to the table?
I do believe, but those people will not come to the foray of political. I mean, we have people, I can easily name them. I mean, look at Professor, the African bank. Akinwumi. I mean, he performed very well as a minister. See, the problem with Nigeria today is some of our best brain, we are pushing them out. I'm not saying there are no good brain in Nigeria right now, we are, the talent that we have has been extradited to other countries, to the world. Why can't we use them here?
At what began to evolve? At what point?
It's been evolving over time. I mean, 2006, at a very young age, I ran for Senate. I had this huge idea of coming to make an impact. It didn't work. I go back to my regular job. I want to offer something. If somebody say I want to offer you this, and you are not prepared to take it, I mean, look where we are now. We are still back to square one. We are still discussing. In 2022, we are discussing Buddha. We are discussing cow routes. Isn't that, I mean, think about it. Isn't that crazy? That somebody can actually wake up and be discussing when other countries are discussing
smart technology.
Smart technology. I just came from Lekki on a good day. Lekki to this place should take me more than 20 minutes. On a good day. If you travel on a bad day, you could take it 4 hours.
Yes.
Somebody who will depart from the same location, they go to Ibadan, they will be in Ibadan, resting, and you still haven't got to Lekki. It's a very simple solution. Very, very simple. Why do we have a 2-lane expressway in Lagos when we know the number of vehicles that we have? In China, they already have 20 lanes. It's a no-brainer. 20 lanes, 10 on one side, 10 on the other side. To have a solution to this problem, you can actually go up in an helicopter, look down, and see where the bottleneck is, and correct it. These are not rocket science. And we have a governor who will go to Magodo and stand in front of the gate and say, kick these people out. Listen, right now we have a national government being controlled by the same party, APC, and there's no fusion among them. They are still fighting each other. The governor doesn't get along with the Minister of Justice. The Minister of Justice is not communicating the directive to the president. I went to Apapa. I drove to Apapa. I almost cried. Because those bridges were built before I left this country, over 40-something years ago. Most of them have not been taught as we speak right now. Apapa, on a good day, is one of the places where not only the state government but the national government derive their resources. Why can't you put the resources back to where the money is coming from? It's like baboon they walk, monkey they shop. But we don't want to address the issue. We have Lagos State, there's a mega state, you are getting most of the resources from, and you are taking these resources to other states. They are not even viable. We know it for a fact. There are some states, if they don't get their derivation from the national government, they cannot function for more than 6 months. We know those states. Why are we calling them states if they are not sustainable? These are not stuff any ordinary person can see. Apapa Bridge is almost falling. I see pothole big enough for a car to enter. Why? People like us, I don't have to seek an office. I'm already blessed. But when I come and I look at this problem, and I'm asking myself, these people, are they serious? Do they really want to solve this problem? Or see, there are certain people they ọmọ akọ wọn ní àríjẹnu bàjẹ́. Once the problem is solved, they are to line their livelihood is gone. They benefit from this chaos. In Lagos State, do you know the third or fourth largest generating fund unit is the Agberos? But nobody wants to address the question because they are supporting the government of the day. And everybody is afraid. Nobody wants to talk about it. It's like a big elephant in the room. We all see it, but nobody wants to address that. Nobody wants to address that issue. Why should we have a unit that is generating so much fund and leave it to, even if we don't take control, the money they are deriving, let's get 5%, 10% out of it. But guess what? Guess who's paying for it? Average poor person. Because that money you are paying for your fare is up because they have to sell to somebody. Until you are ready and prepared to fight corruption at all levels, our problem will not be solved. And the problem is, everything is corrupt. It's not just the leaders. On my way here, I stopped at the petrol station, filling tank. He say, "Oga, look, I say, fill it up. I don't know." He say, "How much?" I say, just put 6,000. Because I always top my petrol all the time. I say, put 6,000. When he got to like 4,000, he starts doing that. So I say, I want to walk. I want to go get KFC. Driver, you want to? He stopped. He say, how much? Say 5,500. And the thing didn't say 5,500 now. So is that Buhari's problem now? He didn't say 5,500. So if we select from this pool of people, what kind of leaders are we going to get? You employ somebody, come and help me watch this law. I buy Omo, take. How much is Omo? 1.5. 1.5. That sounds kind of ridiculous. Okay, just take. Come back. The Omo you bought was only 800 naira. Out of the 8, I gave you 2,000. I give you more than enough. Out of the 800, he didn't finish it. He put the rest inside his backpack. He left. Next day I woke up. I said, are you sure you watch this thing doesn't look washed down? Okay, where is the detergent? Where is the remaining? I said, oh God, I'm sorry. He ran back because he still want to collect contract to do the floor. If you are not looking, people are just, we are not ready as a people, as collective body, to face this issue. Until we put ourselves and say, look, we know who is qualified for who now. You find somebody that did French, you put them in the economic advisory committee. He doesn't even have to study economics. Has he run any enterprise? Somebody that cannot even run their home, they are putting them head of something. What is their record? What is their background?
You mentioned returning to your regular job a while back.
Yes.
After you took the first shot at
Absolutely.
the background, regular job and
I own a real estate firm in US where I employ other realtors to work under me. So it gives me the flexibility to be able to take off anytime I want. But real estate has always been my passion. I didn't study by major. I studied political science. University of Illinois, Chicago, where I got my bachelor's degree. I did my master's in public administration, at Roosevelt University. After finishing there,
Roosevelt.
yeah, Roosevelt. After completing my master's, I said, well, some of my peers were going back to Nigeria, but I already started a family. I didn't want to uproot my family, so I said, well, let me just stay back and see. But over time, I continue to see the rot in the system, and like, look, God has positioned you. It's not by my skill, it's not by my power, but God just put you there to be able to attain this position. Why don't you go back and give back to the people that made you what you are?
Where is your people? Which area?
I was born and raised in Lagos Island. I'm a Lagosian. My father's side is Sanni, born in Sanni. My mother is Olatunji, born in Victoria Street, Moshala Shikimo. So, so I'm a typical Lagos boy, and back in those days, Lagos is like London, so there was no need for anybody to even, because life was good, money was flowing, but my parents had better ideas. I said, look, I had uncles. Right now I have an auntie who is one of the appeal justice federal level. I have two uncles. One is a medical doctor. I have another one who is economics. Used to work for Union Bank. So I have people that I can look up to. So I said, look, for whatever it's worth, let me pursue other areas. So that's what I end up doing.
I noticed that most prospective applicants as you that travel all the way from America, UK, Germany, they are contesting under the umbrella of PDP.
Absolutely.
Why the choice? What is the motivation to choose an opposition party?
That's a very good question, and I appreciate you asking. For me, PDP represents some semblance of democracy. I mean, if you look at APC as it stands right now, you almost have to be alive, and you are not getting the position based on what you have to offer. It's based on which line you belong. And you cannot, on one hand, preach democracy and be part of, as you argue, personal property. I don't want to personalize it, but for me, PDP represents some semblance of democracy, where at least you have a shot of getting the nomination if you are able to prove yourself. No, don't get me wrong. In all parties there are cabals. There's no. I mean, it's like picking between two evils. So you have to pick the lesser evil. So for me, PDP is a lesser evil, and plus, if you look at it, they pretty much have a one-party system in Lagos State. Since 1999.
Yes.
1999, we had the same party, and things have still not better. I mean, we have semblance of improvement. I would suggest, or I would say, under Fashola. I mean, you can see somebody did his best, but now it's like we are stuck in neutral. We are not moving forward, and we are like not really going too much backward. So, to answer your question, PDP has a semblance of democracy, and if you can prove yourself, you are likely to get the nomination. But the question I think we should ask ourselves is, are the people of Lagos State, are they ready? Because if they are ready, these things can be done. It may not be overnight, but it can be done. Because you cannot, on one hand, be complaining, and at the other hand, you are taking rice to vote for the same party. It just doesn't make sense.
The scenario you painted is
I think, honestly, it's a question of fear. You know, you can suppress people to a certain level where they don't think it's possible. There are people even within that group that truly want a change, but
Yes.
they are minority.
Yes.
If you don't subscribe to certain group or don't hold allegiance to certain leaders within that party, you are not going anywhere. It has been proved time and time again. I'm not saying everybody in PDP is a saint and everybody in APC are devils. They are devils across the board. But what I'm saying is, you cannot advocate for a change and still be within
That's what
the party that held Lagos by the neck. It's not possible.
But people also accuse the Lagos people that it seems they are not really interested in winning elections. That all those strategies take
Well,
part here in their house.
Let me tell you this. I know for a fact that there are certain elements, even within PDP, for them it's a business transaction. Yeah, we've had candidates that have come to enrich their pocket. Once they get the money coming from the federal, they even collaborate with APC. We know them. It's true. I mean, how do you explain somebody who received money in the billions to run an election and they cannot even account for it? We've had it on record, or even House of Rep, they collected 95 million. 144 million. See, 144 million. They cannot even account for 20 million. And as soon as the election is over, they switch party. Only in Nigeria you see this kind of nonsense. And these people are still walking around free. We know them. And we know people that are coming to PDP to get the nomination. As soon as they get their nomination, they get the money, they are going back to APC. So we need to, it goes back to my original point. We have to put a square peg in a square hole. We need to find out what are the background of these people, what are their antecedents, what are their qualifications, what have they attained in their own personal life for us to be able to trust them.
Of course, you've stated a lot of things that are wrong with the system, and you also said something which is very correct about the way Lagos State politics is being run, just like a one party system. Now, you're coming up now from the opposition party, which is PDP, and for you to represent your people, it is evident that you have to work extremely hard. So how prepared are you for this task?
This is not my first time go around, so with the support of people with like minds, and hopefully with the resources that I have in place, and I've built structure over time, hopefully it will sustain me to get to the next level. So I think I'm very prepared. You know, I'm not just this for me. This is not just a fun in the park. Because I mean, for me to uproot my family, to put my business in jeopardy, even put my own personal life at risk. Because you have to be honest. I mean, 2006, I remember very vividly. We went for a rally in Badagry where there was chaos and violence. People died. The day that Funshaw Williams was killed, I was at his house that morning because we had a rally in Tafa Balewa Square. So normally what we do is we go to his house to pick him up before we go to the rally. The man was killed. Up to today, we still don't know who killed Funshaw Williams.
You saw him that day.
No, I saw him previously. I didn't see him. I mean, he was dead. I think he was killed in the overnight. Yeah. So by the time we got to his house in the morning, you know, we found out that he was killed. Up till today, we still cannot tell. We still don't know who killed. There's too many political debt unresolved, and we have the so-called the security leader of the state. Nobody mentioned anything. We have the commander-in-chief, series of commander-in-chiefs since then. Nobody has been able to, but even Bola Ige is dead. Up to today, nobody has been able to give us an adequate answer. Who killed him? And these are people that are willing to stake their life for the uplifting of the masses. So it's a signal to others. Say, look, this is a foray that it could be very turbulent unless you are prepared and ready for it. Then come on board. If you are not, step back.
What are the lessons then from the official work?
For me, Funshaw Williams is a mentor because I looked at him as somebody that live a very simple life. The strength of Funshaw Williams is also his weakness because he was so close to people and he allowed people to get close to him. He did not qualify himself like he should have. If he would have done that, I think he may still be alive today. But he didn't see himself as a threat. But he represented, because he was a governor in waiting at that time. He was governor in waiting. So I don't have any evidence in front of me to say who did it, but you know, I think his death should be thoroughly investigated and brought to closure. So the lesson is, if we want people of valor, people of character to come to the political forum, we need to at least have some type of encouragement for those people so they have a reason to step up.
As a lawmaker, what will be your first two priority when you get to the legislative house? God willing.
See, first of all, you have to understand that in any given society, the most important element is the superstructure. I think I mentioned it. The superstructure of Nigeria, as it is right now, can never get us to the promised land. So, as a lawmaker, I want to go there to change the basic laws. First and foremost, I think we should move away from the so-called ethnic, religious screening that we have. Our focus should be on the qualification. And also, we should make election work and matter. We should have an open system where average voters can vote for their representative and that vote can be reflected. Right now, the system we have is whereby we have few people determining the fate of thousands. I mean, let's take my own primary election. Not all PDP members will be able to vote. It's only few and delegates that will determine my fate. So my fate, no matter how popular I am, if I'm not popular within those people, I'm not going anywhere. Let's say I'm even able to get that nomination and we are able to go to general election. In the United States, for example, with over 200 and something million population, and maybe 25 or 35, I'm just giving you a round figure, 35 million voters. You can vote in the morning by 6 p.m. We'll be telling you the results. Because it's instantaneous. We don't have to vote, take the vote. See, let me tell you where the election is stolen in most cases. It's either during voting or between the voting center and the collation center. That's where the results change. So we have people that do not represent the interest of those people who are they representing. We need to change that. I want to go there and change those laws. If we begin to have true democracy in Nigeria, you will see that there will be less corruption because there will be less people. The money is a magnet to most of these politicians. They are only going there to get money. Once you remove money, then the desire to go there will be less. I want to change the allocation law, make it more transparent. You can go online today and look at state government in the US, look at their budget, see how it's being spent. Everything here is studed in secrecy. Everything. So how do you think is attainable? So we have to be honest with ourselves that this problem is affecting us. The cost of production is. Do you know that in some cases it's cheaper to ship your container to outside Nigeria and bring it in than to take it to port, to Lagos Apapa port? If they want to retire a police officer, one of the perks they're going to request, just give me something, put me in a position where I can eat money. They'll post them to Apapa. And we are saying we want to, corruption will kill us if we don't kill corruption. It's already killing us. But we don't want to. It's like we are blinded to this issue, and this thing is not something you can bring any school sack person and say identify this problem, and they say take this out, take this out, take this in, put this in, everything will be solved. But we have people with vested interest on all these problems that are enumerated for you. They are benefiting from it. They don't want us to move forward. Look at you. The first thing you have to do in order to get this type of change is you have to be a consensus builder. You have to understand that some of these people, it may affect them. Really, it may affect their pocket. What I intend to do is to go there and build a relationship. Let them get credit for some of this work that I want to do. Put the bill on their name. This is somebody that maybe they may have been in Abuja for many years, and you say, look, this thing, let's do it together. You take credit, but the benefit is going to be for all of us. It can be done. Because some of these people that we are talking about, they just need a little persuasion to show them the right way. And once you are able to persuade those people and build a personal relationship that's based on trust, I think it can be done. So I like to build. I don't want to tear anything apart, but sometimes in order to build, we have to tear down the process. You know? So we just have to identify those areas. I mean, don't get me wrong. We are very fortunate nation. Maybe over 200 and something languages. So the things that binds us is more than stuff that divides us. So let's look for those areas where we have common interest. Let's work on those areas with common interest. And once we are able to do that, we can be able to forge ahead. We are not going to agree on everything, but those areas that we do agree that need changes, it takes leadership. You know, right now we have a president that's hands off. You ask him one question, he's answering in a different subject. And some people think it's normal. You know, everybody in their lifetime, there's a shelf life for everything. Just like you buy bread, you cannot eat 3 weeks bread and want to chop it today. It will not taste well in your mouth. There's a shelf life to some of this leadership. You just have to bring it to them. Look, Oga, your time has passed. And we're not asking you to bring your son or your daughter to replace you. Find a highly qualified person that meet the criteria. It's just a matter of setting criteria. It doesn't matter where they come from, what language they speak, what religion they belong. What matters is the project called Nigeria that we all agree on. You know, there's still people still fighting whether we should be Nigeria or not. Isn't those same elements that are going to go ahead Oduduwa Republic? Isn't that same element that are going to go ahead Arewa Republic or Biafra Republic? So we are fighting nonsensical stuff. we are fortunate that by accident, by omission, by commission, God has brought us together. Let's work on that. That's the standard. That's the level that we are. Let's build on it. Not fighting. It's not going to solve our problem. Some people think if we have a legal republic, our problem is solved. Our problem is just that. You ask them, what's the boundary of their republic? They cannot tell you. See, devils is in the details. Are you going to cut off my brother in Kwara? Are you going to cut off my brother in Kogi State? What about some of my brothers in Edo? Are you going to cut them off? Even among the Biafrans, they cannot even agree. Are you going to cut Port Harcourt? Are you going to cut the riverine Igbos?
Yeah, the rivers and the rest.
So let's leave those areas alone. Let's focus on the project Nigeria. Let all the hands, let's be on deck.
Sir, you made mention of something which really interests me most, about the president. You were saying something about being an old person and is unable to really connect with the trends of the day. Come 2023, do you think age should be a determinant to choosing the next president?
That's a very good question. Yes and no. It's very difficult to teach an old dog new tricks. The age that we live in now is an age of technology, and we need people that can be able to relate to it. Because if we don't do that, then we are not moving in the right direction. Age should not be the determinant. It is the philosophy, the intellect, the qualification, their track record. You can have an old person who is very trendy, who keep with time. I mean, I still compete with my 39, 40-year-old daughter. You know, they can still be able to send me text message. I can be able to respond. They can, you know, I may not be as fast on WhatsApp or other social media, but at least I know what's obtainable. But we do need somebody that knows what they are doing. We don't need a segment president. We don't need a president that believes that certain sex belongs to the kitchen. We need a president who can be able to use all the resources, human capital that Nigeria has to offer, whether female, male. Why is it that you look at our political structure is dominated by men? Is it only men that are intelligent? You have some females that are much brilliant. It goes back to my analogy of being in an accident. You want the best brain surgeon that is going to work on your brain. Let's pretend Nigeria is our brain. Let's get the best surgeon, irrespective of their age, of their religion, of their tribe, that can work on this brain so we can get to the next level.
If you get elected as their representative,
if I'm fortunate enough to get elected, I have a program that I will term civil society. Growing up in Lagos Island, one of the things that I remember is we have semblance of a civil environment. Where we have libraries, we have functioning schools, we have functioning roads, we have functioning water system. Why can't we have that? Now, in order for you to get water, you have to buy pure water. When I was growing up, there was no such thing as pure water. The water system works.
We drank straight from
We
the tap.
drank straight from it, and it's just as good as anything. We can bring those things back. So you can actually go back and reflect on what is obtainable and bring it to our people. So my goal is to be able to build at least one library. And when I say library, I'm not talking about library full of books. So I'm talking about high-tech library where we are going to have fast internet. So for those people, they can be able to come in and learn about the future, and they will not be restricted based on their income or their social status. So I want to bring the benefit of government back to the lowest level. Be able to have scholarship for those that cannot afford it, to be able to travel abroad, be able to have one of the problems why we have unemployment in Nigeria today, you know why? Because we don't have no skill acquisition. Everybody wants to go to university. Back in the days, if your talent is not for university, you can go learn carpentry, you can go learn bricklayer. Now we have other countries, other West African countries coming to Nigeria to take our jobs. I'm telling you, go to the Lekki Axis, some of the best bricklayers are from Benin. Those are jobs that are meant for every Nigerian. So I am going to build a skill acquisition center on a high level that will produce people that can do finishing that you can compare to anywhere in the world. Take a look at my district. If you drive along Third Mainland Bridge, you have dilapidated units. People are living in slums. And you have a mega city, less than 5-10 minutes drive. So we have an unequal system, unequal generation of people. I want to bring them together. I'm not saying that government can solve every problem, but what I'm saying is government can do a lot. I come from the background of free enterprise, and I believe with my experience and my training, I am highly qualified to be able to represent the interests of those people.